Hello, my name is Ian Humphreys, and welcome to a presentation for the UK Medical Freedom Alliance. I am the Programme Director now for UK Medical Freedom Alliance, and I'm going to take you through an update of a transformation programme that we are going through for the organisation. It's our vision for how the future is going to shape for the organisation, and more importantly, how you can help. So let me take you through the presentation, and I'll be really interested in your feedback at the conclusion. So just a quick reminder of who we are. I know pretty well that if you're one of our supporters and you're looking at this presentation, you already obviously know what the organisation's about, but I'm also hoping that you will pass this on to people that haven't heard of us or have only just about heard of us and would like a bit more information. We are the recognised and respected voice on medical health freedom issues. We're looking deeply into the world of informed consent, the laws around that and guidelines. And we are a voice for the respect for the legal and ethical right to refuse testing, medical interventions and vaccines without penalties or restrictions. We're seeking transparency of safety and effectiveness data, and we want an ethical approach to all pandemics. We want to be a source of easily accessible and evidence-based information, and to give you the information and resources that you need to aid yourself or other people to challenge mandated testing, interventions or vaccines. We as an organisation collaborate with UK and international groups campaigning for medical health freedoms, and right now our work has never been more important. So just a quick bit about me. You might be wondering where I've suddenly popped up from. Well, I'm a former police detective actually, and a corporate fraud investigator, and I did that for a good 10 years back in the 80s and another 10 years in the 90s. And during that time I became a computer crime investigator, and then got to get involved in IT specifically, and I actually left crime investigation to become the head of information technology for one of Britain's largest independent schools, and then on to a cancer charity, and then moved to a larger cancer charity, following which I resigned to pursue a musical career actually, which has been music has been my life for forever really. However, things changed, didn't they? And so I've come back into the fray, and I'm very, very proud and pleased and privileged to be the Programme Director for UKMFA, driving their transformation programme. Now, as part of this transformation, in order to work out where we needed to go as an organisation, I conducted a lot of one-to-one meetings and got the feedback. And some of the bullet points from that feedback is that we needed to know from long-term supporters what they wanted to do as part of the organisation. And they felt that their initial roles had become a little outdated and they needed to consider their future. And generally and understandably, some reluctance was there to be involved full-time because the roles are voluntary. They felt there was a need for lean, role-based directorships, and also a need for swift decision making, and to be sustainable through fundraising and the controlled spending of those funds once they were raised. Majorly important that data was handled very, very well, and that data and the collaboration between our supporters and the directors would mean that we could hold the medical and health authorities to account. Obviously, an improved outreach was needed, perhaps better communication, and to help with that, clearly a stronger web and social media presence. So this transformation I put together, I phased out, and in fact, I'm really hoping now that the phase 2 of that will be delivered by the end of March next year. Phase 1, which is virtually delivered, was to get the programme and project initiations underway, to talk to the existing directors and get them reappointed and get role descriptions signed off, and also for new directors to be appointed and have their roles signed off too. As I said, a number of key supporter meetings were held on a one-to-one basis, and very honest and revealing notes were taken. And the current website has been reviewed and the documentation around that. The biggest risks and opportunities that come up really are, well, from a risk point of view, commitment issues. We wanted to make sure that people were committed and for at least 6 months, so that we could get the transformation programme mainly underway and most of the work done. Looking at finance, income and expenditure, obviously risks around, could we raise enough? Where would that income come from, and in what terms would we expend that income? We also looked at the single points of failure that could exist around any organisation, especially a smaller organisation. The public persona of UK Medical Freedom Alliance as a whole, and the professional persona. So how are we viewed by the professionals in our space? So as a result, we came up with a new vision statement, and the core leadership team have thoroughly agreed this, and we felt this was like our elevator statement. This is the one where if we were caught in a lift with someone for 5 minutes or less, just running between a couple of floors, and we were asked what we did for a living, we could say, we are the UK's most recognised and respected organisation, advocating for every individual's right to informed consent, bodily autonomy and medical choice. So the transformation as a whole is a programme of work which consists of a number of smaller projects, and each one of those projects are kind of reliant upon each other, dependent upon each other, or have some connection. And as we go through the transformation and as the programme is delivered, more and more projects will surface. And you'll see from this slide that 2 of the main things that I wanted to achieve very, very quickly, I'm really pleased to say, have been achieved. So that was redefining the core leadership team and redefining the vision statement. The next step, and I'll come onto it shortly, is creating a steering group, updating the web presence, and then looking at our fundraising strategy, our outreach, looking at our financial management, and very, very importantly, recruiting more supporters into the fold. So I'm very pleased to say the core leadership team is defined, and this will be the leadership team for at least 6 months. Obviously, right at the top there, our Chief Executive Officer is Liz. I'm sure you all know her. And you will know Sarah too, who has now become the Director of Medical Ethics. I'm very, very pleased to be joining the team as the Programme Director. And John Rogers has remained a Director and will be looking after finance. Adrienne Benjamin as Marketing Director. And a new role as Personnel Director is for Dina Dabian, as she really is our people person and keeps all of our supporters in check and together. And on top of that, a really important role is for Friday Chidlow as our Company Secretary. And that gives us our core leadership team going forward. The next step is to create a steering group. And you might ask, well, why do we need a steering group? What is a steering group? Well, it's a group of informed advisors, stakeholders, or subject matter experts. A round table, if you like, who can come together and offer their input on our strategy, any tactical things that we need to take into account or to move forward with, and indeed our financial matters. And these individuals are a complete mix, a total experience mix in a variety of particular fields, or they could be our service users. And that group will give advice, guidance, and provide direction to the core leadership team on any particular project from its initiation to completion. When we were looking at the steering group and I was interviewing people and getting feedback, it became obvious that this was really worthwhile and it would help support the organisation in its vision. and that it would be great to have that steering group reporting directly to the core leadership team for final decision making. And the great thing is, this does require management, but this is not about leadership. This is talking about managing specific projects or other subjects that might come up in order that the steering group could feed back to the core leadership team. And it does require those subject matter experts. So we can draw people in either from within the organisation or outside who can help us steer in the correct direction and advise the core leadership team in order that they can make the appropriate decisions in order to move forward. This could be serving GPs, for example. It could be MPs. It could be anyone. Anyone with a particular expertise would be warmly welcomed into a steering group. It could involve current core leadership team members as well, because they might well have the expertise, probably will have the expertise in order to get the right steer created. It also gives those people that have been involved with the organisation historically, it gives them a current and a future defined role as well, because they could be almost permanent members of the steering group. The suggested formation for this is that, as I said, it'll be a round table, a discussion group. It might meet bi-weekly, but that could be changed depending on who is running the steering group. And I want this to grow organically, and it will probably meet as much as it needs to in order to get the correct steer going. It will be organised by a long-term team member though, and I would suggest a commitment to membership of that for the minimum of 6 months. It'll be supported by an administrator, and as I said, all the outputs will be delivered to the core leadership team for the consideration of the proposals and the final decision making. The roles in the steering group are not necessarily defined like they are in a core leadership team. So they're all vacant posts essentially, but you might well have the company secretary on there, a marketing expert, fundraising, project managers, medical experts, people from government, as I said, and it could be from anywhere in the world, to be honest with you, anyone that has the expertise that we need to deliver the projects we are delivering. So as I said, the roles are not necessarily directly linked to the core leadership team. But the important thing is that none of them are public facing. So unlike the directors of the organisation in the core leadership team, who obviously will be public facing, the steering group can be a safe space. The names of the people on the steering group never need to move outside of the organisation, and it avoids conflicts of interest, unnecessary interrogation from the media or elsewhere. So it's this safe space to discuss and develop the ideas. So what we need to do now, and which is partly why this presentation is going out, is I want to canvass our known long-term team members as to willingness to participate in that steering group, and to also discover new supporters who will be willing to provide their expertise to us. And the opportunity there is for our long-term team supporters and new supporters to become really reinvigorated and integral to the success of the organisation. And it means that our current and any former directors can adopt a mentoring and supportive role and engage with that steering group to help things move forward. So your help is really key right now. Okay, so if you're an existing supporter, I really want to know where you see yourself in UKMFA right now. Do you have time to offer us to help us? Do you have specific skills that you could offer? And could you give us a 6 months, maybe almost like not a secondment, but you know what I mean? You just engage with us for 6 months to help us get this off the ground. You know, who do you know that could help us? Can you find out if they can help? Could you speak to them? Could you please spread the word? And you will find accompanying this presentation is a questionnaire which will help you answer some of those questions and feed it back to us, because that information is going to be so important for our development as we move into 2023 and onwards. Some of the skills that we need, and this is by no means an exhaustive list, but just ones that we threw at the wall almost, is that we definitely need social media skills. They're always very useful. Fundraising is extremely key. Marketing, design, video and audio editing, anything around finance, whether it's accounting, bookkeeping, strategy, really, really useful. You know, are you already in business? Are you a business strategist? That'd be really useful. Anyone that's put on small, medium and large events, I think we're going to be involved in all of those coming into 2023. And anything around security. And I don't want to frighten people that we're considering security, but it is very, very important, especially our on and offline security. And in terms of computer security, network security, and knowledge around the people that are moving around in our space at the moment that want to disrupt. And we've seen those at various events, so that kind of thing is very important to know. So the next steps really is please assess this quick presentation and complete the accompanying questionnaire. Please tell your contacts all about UKMFA. And please respond by email. Now I've put question marks here on the slide. That's because when you get the questionnaire, the details of the email you need to respond to and a respond to date will be on that email. All I have to say is thank you so much for just giving me this brief bit of time. If there's any questions, please respond to the email, as I say, when it comes out. And I look forward to speaking to any of you that become involved and when working with you. And I know as a team, of core leadership team, we're all terribly grateful for everything that you do. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon.